The VLN Endurance Racing Championship resumes on the Nordschleife in Germany with the series' fourth round of the year and another huge entry list of cars. The weather is always a big factor at the Nordschleife, and the clouds around the Eifel mountain region were threatening rain as the grid formed. As the massive cars took the start, it was the Mamero Porsche that had set the pole time and led the field away on the first lap, retaining the prime spot. Frank Stippler, who'd started from third on the lineup, had made up a place to second in the Phoenix Racing Audi R8, having managed to get past the Haribo Porsche, which slipped 2 places to fourth. Not the best of starts, and that was valuable places lost, which would be hard to make back up again. On board with the 88 Haribo Porsche as the hard work begins. Making the transition from the Nurburgring onto the Nordschleife for the first time, the top 4 cars are all very close together. But at this point on the carousel sector, there was a distinct gap opening up with Chris Mamero and Frank Stippler pulling away. There are always so many cars on the entry list that they have to be started in groups, and some of the slower cars got away in the third group, with the Minis leading the way, followed by several BMWs. Another fantastic spectacle to see, and a reason why the VLN makes such great racing to take part in, and also to watch. There was a great battle for third and fourth places going on. Arnold Classen had made it to third, but the Manthe Porsche of Classen would have to stop again, so it was a corrected place of fourth. The race lead changed hands. Hans-Joachim Stuck in the Phoenix Audi made it out of the pits in front of Mark Bassang in the Mamero Porsche. Eventually, the Manthe team brought its Porsche into the pit lane for a full service and the driver change, with the team working as quickly as possible to get the car back out of the pit lane and on track again without losing too much time standing still, which can make a big difference to a race position. Clearly visible to everyone now was that the clouds were thickening and the weather radar was showing that rain was imminent. The teams prepared themselves for more pit stops to change onto wet tyres, and very soon there was no other option as heavy rain fell and soaking the German circuit in the process. The pit lane became a frenzy of cars making their way in to change over to heavy grooved rubber, and in came the race leader. The Phoenix team turned their R8 around in mega quick time, but they lost a couple of seconds having to push back the car in the pit lane. But it wasn't enough to stop them getting back out and retaining the lead in the now very slippery conditions. Before the rain, Stuck had an incredible lead of nearly 2 minutes. But the rain changed all that, and a brilliant drive from Chris Mamero saw the gap reduced now to just 15 seconds in the closing stages of the race. As the rain eased, some parts of the track dried out, and that's the worst-case scenario for a driver on wet tyres. And it seemed that the Porsche was better suited to the challenge. By the last lap, the gap was down to just 0.2 of a second. With the Audi very clearly struggling, the Phoenix team could hardly watch the TV monitors, while the Mamero team were holding their breath as their team leader kept the pressure on and was looking for a safe way to pass without ruining their race and losing out on a guaranteed second place. But second is never good enough when a win can be had. As they came out of the final chicane, it's the Porsche that was in front, and Stippler was running out of time to repass if he could. The Porsche was much better through the tighter turns, but the Audi had the better top speed. The wet conditions made using that difficult, and the best Stippler could do was hang on to the back of Mamero and hope that maybe he'd make a mistake to let him through. But it was not to be, and they crossed the finish line as they were, and the joy of the victory went to the Mamero team. The weather had changed the race around, and they had made the best of it.
Super.
This was the first time that Chris Mamero and Mark Bassang had raced together, and it was the perfect debut for the pair. But no consolation for the Phoenix team that it was second by such a small time margin. It's always a tough race when you're competing on the Nordschleife, but when the weather calls the shots, you can be proud just to get to the finish.